Years later, on a 78-degree day in May, Zamar was left alone in his mother's locked car for more than 90 minutes while she went to a doctor's appointment. She told police her son was a heavy sleeper and claimed doctors wouldn't let him into her appointment.
It's the pattern, right? Here is a mom, again, where she's repeatedly reported by different people in the community.
Frank Vandervoort is a law professor at the University of Michigan and a longtime child welfare advocate who said Pierce's pattern of behavior and the disclosure that she was receiving mental health.
All right, what's up with the YouTube fam? I'm back again with another video. So listen, man, this is an update on the story that I posted not too long ago on this channel. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna give y'all a brief synopsis of everything in this video. But at the end of this video, I also will post the other video that I posted not too long ago. That way y'all can watch that and get caught up to date on everything. And then you can come and watch this and have a better understanding on what's going on. But the thousands of y'all who do know what I'm talking about, we finna update everybody on this whole situation. But listen, I want y'all to hit that like button if you're a supporter of the channel. Leave a comment or something like that. That way you can stay engaged with the channel and can continue to get notifications when I do post videos and stuff like that. That's if you want to. If you don't want to, I ain't doing no tripping. But if you want to stay locked in with the channel and continue to get notifications when I post, just do something like that so you can stay engaged. I hope that everything is okay with you and your family. I'm wishing y'all nothing but the best in every aspect of y'all life. And I'm sending y'all nothing but peace, blessings, and prosperous energy our way. And when I say that, I'm only talking to those who say it back to me in return, and to those who reciprocate the same energy back to me who just can't say it back to me in return for whatever reason. But other than that, let's go ahead and get into this whole situation. So listen, Zamar King is a 9-year-old little boy who lost his life. I think it was, what, last year? Yeah, it was last year, right? And everybody was speculating that he was just missing. But come to find out, you know, they found his remains in the backyard due to a landlord getting ready to remodel one of his homes, right? And, you know, I'm going to leave a lot of the details out because I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all do remember. And if you don't, you can just watch the end of the video and get caught up on all of that. But right now it's coming out that they've been having signs of child neglect for the longest. Like they could have been there and stepped in the middle of this and, you know, got all of this taken care of. They could have got these children removed a long time ago. Now, if you've seen this update before, that's good for you. We're happy for you, but a lot of people haven't seen it. So right now, they're going over everything and they're basically just, you know, compiling evidence and stacking things against her to make sure they can ensure that she doesn't get out. Now, they're speaking about mental health and stuff like that as well, too, about this whole thing with her doing her children the way that she's been doing them. Y'all about to hear about that right now. But a lot of the shit people be talking about, bro, I just look over there because people know what the hell they doing. People can have mental issues and everything like that all day long, but they can also know right from wrong. They know what feel good and what feel wrong, but sometimes wrong shit feel good to the wrong people, and they do weird ass shit. So yeah, but let's go ahead and get into this whole situation. Like I said before, if you need better updates and more clarity on everything that took place, it's at the end of this video. But I'm just trying to update everybody who already know what's going on. So let's go ahead and get into it.
And officials with Children's Protective Services miss blaring warnings that could have saved the life of a 9-year-old Detroit boy.
His remains were found buried in a backyard at a home in January. The boy's mother was charged with his murder on February 5th. 7 investigator Ross Jones is revealing internal CPS records, raising serious questions about what officials did and did not do when they heard alarming claims about the child's safety.
We identified some human remains, somewhat small in stature. Extremely sad day.
The scene at Woodingham and St. Martin's in Detroit was enough to shake even career police officers. The body of a child found buried in a shallow grave.
This case was rather shocking. In my 27-year career, I don't remember seeing anything like this.
It took days for officers to determine that the boy was 9-year-old Zamar King. Prosecutors say by his mother, Brandy Pierce.
It's alleged that she purchased a shovel. She bound him by tying his hands and feet together. She then put him in this and covered him with dirt.
But as unspeakable as the alleged crime was, it did not come out of nowhere.
It's just a train wreck that's going to happen, right? You just see it coming, and they don't do anything about it.
By law, records from Children's Protective Services are guarded closely, even after a child dies. But we've obtained internal CPS records that show state employees were warned for years that Zamar was in danger. At least 4 times records show Brandy Pierce was the subject of CPS complaints, the first coming in 2015 after Pierce admitted to marijuana and alcohol use during her first trimester, It happened, she said, before she decided to keep Zamar. There were complaints in 2019 and 2021, both alleging that Zamar had been left alone. The first time in the lobby of a Southfield apartment building, with Zamar telling police he did not know where he belonged. Police later made contact with a relative and the complaint was denied. 2 years later, on a 78-degree day in May, Zamar was left alone in his mother's locked car for more than 90 minutes while she went to a doctor's appointment. She told police her son was a heavy sleeper and claimed doctors wouldn't let him into her appointment.
Just pattern, right? Here is a mom again where she's repeatedly reported by different people in the community.
Frank Vandervoort is a law professor.
Now you gotta look at it like this right here too. If this been going on for years, why the hell y'all didn't jump in and intervene immediately? But when there's some other type of shit going on, y'all want to take people's kids instantly. It don't make no sense to me. You know, certain things that's being said, and like Boy just said right there, things been happening for the past couple of years and they've been reported by different people. So why the hell y'all ain't stepped in and did something? You know, I'm a big firm believer in them not coming to take people's children, but I do believe when people make consistent calls, you should do something and make them go through different steps to ensure that the children are being safe, because they're getting a lot of tax dollars for basically letting kids get their life taken allegedly. Everything I'm saying in this video is all allegedly from beginning to the end, but ultimately we see what the hell happened, man. You know, CPS get called a lot of times, man, and people still end up taking their kids' life or neglecting them to the point where they lose their life, and that shit is unacceptable in my personal opinion. Let's get back into it though.
At the University of Michigan and a longtime child welfare advocate who said Pierce's pattern of behavior and the disclosure that she was receiving mental health services on an almost daily basis should have been a red flag to CPS.
That suggests to me a very severe level of mental health need. So I'm troubled by that, and it raises more questions than it answers for us.
The Macomb County prosecutor denied a warrant request for child abuse, saying there was insufficient evidence and CPS working with mom. CPS would close the case after performing a home visit, finding no safety hazards, enough food, and suitable sleeping arrangements.
Shit a damn hazard.
Then, last April, came the fourth complaint to CPS. This time, Pierce would come here to this Plymouth Hospital emergency room, reporting she was anxious and depressed.
Pierce told CPS she had a breakdown and felt herself going into a panic attack. She was questioning whether she should give up custody of one of her children. She'd been evicted from a motel. She said her car was repossessed. She was completely out of funds. Once she left the hospital, she and her kids would be sleeping on the street.
On its own, how serious is that?
Critical. This is a family with no place to live. She tells the caseworker, I can't sleep in my car, which suggests to me that she's been sleeping in her car at some points.
But what Zamar told CPS was most alarming of all. He had not been to school in over a year, he said, and doesn't always have food to eat. He said his mother hit him with a belt, that she's cheating with her hands, and that she wants to kill him.
Okay, so y'all don't think that that's enough right there? That's way too much. When a child is telling you something like that, you definitely should step in and remove the child and do something about this, because this child is old enough to know what they're talking about. The justice system in certain departments of it fails a lot of people a lot of different times. This kid literally said his mama wanted to take his life, bro. Come on, man. That's the perfect reason to jump in and do whatever you need to do. I don't give a damn about the drugs and all the other type of shit. You know what I'm saying? I do care, but y'all know what I'm saying when I say what I say. That trumps all of that. They should have stepped in immediately and took care of it. But hey, it is what it is. Let's get back into it.
Rational, normal person walking out on the street hearing this would be completely alarmed by what they're hearing.
Facts.
They would take action. They would call the police.
But what CPS did, according to
him.
internal records, was close the case. The investigation found no preponderance of evidence of physical neglect. Pierce was provided with pamphlets connecting her with community services, and a note was added to follow up on her mental health appointments. 6 months later, after Zamar reported that his mother cheated and wanted to kill him, prosecutors say she did.
It's alleged that she and that the cause of death found by the medical examiner was smothering and neck compression.
CPS records show that the family was placed at a homeless shelter after that final complaint last April. It is not clear how long they were there. Then in December, Brandy Pierce was found in Georgia. She was arrested after someone reported finding her other child, a 3-year-old, locked in a car alone.
Police said temperatures were in the 40s, the child was nude, and there was feces and a deflated air mattress in the vehicle.
In the 40s.
Citing state and federal law, CPS said they could not comment on this case, but they are heartbroken by Zamar's death and are committed to ensuring the health and safety of all children. Tonight, Zamar's relatives are trying to pay for his burial. They have started a GoFundMe, and we have included a link where you can donate on our website right now at wxyz.com.
I'm late with the update, so I don't know if they buried him or not. I'm sure they have by now, though.
We asked CPS, is the employee who handled that last investigation, what is their status? Are they working today? Are they under investigation? Were they disciplined? They said they couldn't comment, but there are many, many questions that need to be asked about this.
I mean, it leaves you speechless, and my stomach is just turning over. Where is that mom? She's locked up right now, or she's getting help?
It is unclear whether or not she's still in Georgia. They have to move her to Michigan so she can be arraigned. Her whereabouts right now are not entirely clear, but she is under arrest.
And her other children are safe, as far as we know.
State custody right now.
So many missed red flags. All right, Ross, thank you so much for that report.
Okay, so like he just said, bro, so many different reasons why they should have intervened a long time ago. Now, you know, with everything that took place with this, I feel like it should be open and shut what happens to her, because she's been doing this to children for the longest. You feel me? To find a child the way that they found that child should have let them know everything that they needed to know. Another thing that's bothering me, they are allowing children to be out of school for years on end and trying to blame just the parents. No, we pay y'all to do all of this shit. The truancy department and different things like that, I think that's what it's called. You know, you get truancy when your kids don't go to school and shit like that. They get paid, so they should be on top of that. They should be out looking all the time for these children that's missing. There's no way in the hell certain things should continue to happen in these situations. I really can't stand it. It's really sickening that these children are going through what they're going through with the people who are supposed to be there for them and provide for them and protect them. But, you know, it is what it is, man. I want to know your thoughts and opinions on everything. The next video is basically the past situation where it broke down fully until it's minute. That way you can get a better understanding and know exactly what the hell is going on. Other than that, I done say what I have to say. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, and I will holler at y'all later on another video.
Two different counties. Channel 2's Taisha Fernandez is live outside the jail with how they captured her. Ty.
This mother's name is Brandy Pierce. She's sitting inside this Cobb County jail on some charges related to being in a stolen rental car. But now that she's charged with murder in Michigan, she'll be extradited from this jail. She's also facing a charge in DeKalb County for what police are calling hurting another child. Take a look at this mugshot of Brandy Pierce. She's a 41-year-old mother facing multiple charges in several counties. This story started in Wayne County, Michigan, where police say Pierce, her 9-year-old son, Zamar King. Police say it happened in October of last year, and they say Pierce buried that child in the backyard of a home she was renting.
All right, what's up with it, y'all? So look, man, I'm back again with another video, right? And today we are talking about a situation where a little boy lost his life to the hands of his own mother. And when I say that, I mean literally lost his life to the hands of his own mother. I can't even call her mother, his biological mom. Now, her name is Brandy Pierce. She's 41 years old, and Zamar King III was 9 years old when this took place, right? And before we move forward, I do want to start this out the right way by saying RIP to the little boy. You know, I want to send some love out to his family and his father. And, you know, I'm just hoping that everything is okay with y'all, and I'm sending y'all some healing energy. Now, look, I know y'all want to know about the father. We're going to talk about that in a couple of seconds. But let's go ahead and talk about the details so far. So, look, basically, this took place in October from what they're getting out of everything. Okay, so she just took his life. She ultimately ended up trying to make a makeshift grave site, and you know, she tried to bury him and stuff like that, but ultimately his foot was sticking out, and that caused a whole lot of ruckus in this whole situation. Now, I mean, it's so crazy coincidental how she got caught, and I mean, I just feel like that anywhere it go, she was going to get caught. You can't run from certain things, in my personal opinion. So basically, the neighbors have been stating that it's been a lot of commotion going on over there at their house, right? They said that they hear a lot of different things. They allege that it was 5 people there, 5 kids there and 2 adults there. But, you know, they said they was always having some type of issue going on and things like that. Now, the mother has another child. She has 2 kids from what they're saying. And the other baby that did live was, you know, fleeing with her. That baby is 3 years old, if I'm not mistaken, right? So the owner of the house that she was living in was finna do some remodeling and upgrading to his property, right? So they go out there to start doing the construction and see a foot sticking up out of the ground. They go ahead and start franticking and tripping out and things like that, like anybody would do here. You see a whole foot sticking up. So they call the authorities. The authorities go over there and see that there is a body, but they couldn't make out what it was, who it was, or whatever the case may be. Ultimately, they ended up finding out that it was a little boy. Okay, now the mother basically got caught because it's multiple reasons why she got caught, but the main thing was they kind of triggered people and let people know something wasn't right. Was the witnesses saying that stuff was happening beforehand, but they up and left one night randomly. Now, when you skip out on your lease and stuff like that, people always wonder what the hell happened, and you know what I'm saying, things like that. But they put two and two together and ultimately ended up finding out that she was the person. They fled the state and they ran their tests and stuff like that and found out who he was. Okay, now she hasn't really said too much, but I do have a press conference at the end of this video where they break everything down. But now I'm finna show y'all what took place from the beginning all the way until now.
Very active investigation on Detroit's west side. Human remains were found there earlier today, and now Detroit police are working with the FBI on this case. CBS News Detroit's Walter Murphy is live from the scene as the investigation continues. Walter, good evening. Any progress on figuring out who this is, and also how are these found?
Well, Terrence, the homeowner actually hired a construction crew to get the house ready for new tenants, but when that crew got to work, they found those human remains. And right now, authorities aren't able to say whether or not that human remains belonged to a male or a female or an adult or a child.
Well, I hope that it's not really human and someone is playing a cruel joke. I would just hope that.
Nadia Morris's hopes were crushed once she realized that it wasn't a cruel joke and that the home next door was now the site of an active crime investigation involving human remains. Those remains found by a construction crew hired by the home's owner to get the place ready for a new tenant to move in.
Very scary because you don't know if it's a child, adult, or somebody's over here doing things they're not supposed to. So.
Morris, who's lived in this neighborhood for 15 years, says that this house in particular had sat empty for about a year after the previous family, which had 2 parents and 5 children, suddenly moved out.
But nobody knew they left. They packed up in the middle of the night and just were gone the next day.
An abrupt departure that ended the chaotic scenes that Morris says that her and her neighbors would watch from their windows the entire time the previous family called this corner lot home.
We could hear them arguing, they would have the door open and it would just get so loud that neighbors would get concerned and actually call the police over there.
The only detail that Detroit police gave CBS News Detroit was that the remains belonged to someone who was small in stature, but they couldn't say how long they'd been there or give the gender or age of the victim. But they do say they're working diligently to remove every clue from this backyard that they can.
Now look, I think one of the main reasons why they knew it was her was because they had multiple calls there. That's one of the things I left out because I want to try to see it in the video. You know, when you do have a history of doing certain things, they're ultimately going to go looking for that one person. So they probably put 2 and 2 together strictly from that right there. One of the main reasons. But I know that they did their, investigation because it's been months. They did DNA samples probably and certain things like that. Probably dental records. You know how they find out who people are. But I just want to say, a lot of people make excuses for people taking their kids' lives, and I would never be okay with it. You have to understand that these kids are pure. They don't know what the hell be going on half of the time, and they are learning. And you got to have grace with it. But some people have so much going on with themselves, and they're weak individuals to the point where they will just take their kids' lives. You know what I'm saying? Versus going to get counseling and talking to other people or giving the child away to someone else who can potentially be help for you. It's just sad and unfortunate that so many children are losing their lives at a rapid pace due to the people who are supposed to protect them and be a provider for them and their teacher, the one who loves on them and nourish them and things like that. It's just sad. I'm pretty sure that a lot of the times these kids be wondering, why are you doing this to me? You feel me? I just don't get it, and I never will. Let's get back into it.
Should be making the exhumation by hand. I can't in no way give you a length of time that this investigation will take, but extremely sad day, and we will exhaust our resources to hold the people accountable for it.
Again, they say that they will be out there to get all of those out of that yard, but IDing that body could take several months. Terrence.
Walter, thanks. We'll keep following.
Okay, so look, this is the press conference. I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all watch this in its entirety, and we're gonna talk about this at the end. But I do want to know y'all thoughts and opinions on everything, and make sure y'all get in that comment section and let's talk about this. I'm gonna let y'all go ahead and get into it.
All right. Thank you all for coming this morning. I have stood at this podium many, many times and talked about how horrific, tragic certain cases are. Each time thinking there are some future alleged facts that could be worse than what I'm talking about at the time. Knowing all the while, though, that there's always a worse set of facts on the horizon. Well, that day has come again. So I want to talk about a case of a young boy named Zamar King III. The alleged facts in this case are that we are announcing today. On January 6th of 2025, the Detroit Police Department was notified and summoned to a house on Whittingham in Detroit. They had been contacted by the landlord that owned that house. When he went to that house, the landlord contacted him when he went to that house to prepare it for a new tenant. That he called the police because he found a shallow grave in the backyard of the home on Whittingham. Upon arrival, the police were shown that grave where a human foot was sticking out of the ground. The foot was believed to be belonged to a small child. After an extensive investigation by quite a few agencies, and the chief will talk about that in a minute, the buried body was discovered to be 9-year-old Zamar King III. That the mother of young Zamar was 41-year-old Brandy Pierce. It's alleged that she killed him, and that the cause of found by the medical examiner was smothering and neck compression. So I want to just further go ahead and tell you what other facts about this case. It's alleged that she purchased a shovel. She bound him by tying his hands and feet together and dug a hole in the background of the house on Whittingham where she had been living for a short time. She then put him in this hole and covered him with dirt. That after her son, she and her other son, who was 3 years old, moved to Georgia, Cobb County to be exact. It was determined that this, in fact, happened sometime in October of 2024. That Zamar's mother, Brandy Pierce, is currently in Cobb County, Georgia, and we will be requesting her to be extradited back to Michigan. We are charging Brandy Catrice Pierce today with 1 count in the first-degree premeditation, which carries a life without parole sentence, mandatory. Count 2 is homicide felony murder. Again, the mandatory penalty is life in prison without the possibility of parole. Our 3rd count is child abuse, first degree, life or any term of years in prison. The first degree child abuse is the felony to make out the felony we are alleging. Count 4 is tampering with evidence, criminal case punishable by more than 10 years in prison. And the 5th one is interfering with, concealing and interfering with the individual, 5 years, of course, that being 9-year-old Zamar King. As always, this defendant is presumed innocent unless or until proven guilty. I should tell you that Judge Aaliyah Sabri of the 36th District Court authorized these charges yesterday. And since we will be requesting extradition, we will notify you all when in fact she is back in the state of Michigan. So of course there is no next day for court. Again, let me just repeat, these charges and allegations are quite serious. They're deadly, they're shocking, every platitude that you can think of. But again, Ms. Pierce is still presumed to be innocent unless or until proven guilty. So I'm gonna have the chief say a couple words to you and then we'll answer some questions for you if we can.
Thank you, Madam Prosecutor. As Madam Prosecutor said, this case is rather shocking. In my 27-year career, I don't remember seeing anything like this, but I just want to thank, of course, Madam Prosecutor. I want to thank our law enforcement partners and everyone who helped out with this. The FBI was instrumental. Michigan State Police was instrumental in helping out as well, along with Cobb County and DeKalb County in the state of Georgia, their district attorney's office. And I just really want to express how proud I am of the hardworking men and women of the Detroit Police Department who helped bring this case to where it is today with these charges. I want to thank, of course, of our Major Crimes Division, the Commander Rebecca McKay, Captain Marcus Thurkill, Sergeant Ashley Peterson, Detective Kelly Lucy, who is here with us, Detective Lisa Johnson, and then the officer who is leading the case, Officer Isaac Yamas, and the members of the Western Squad. The Detroit Police Department works relentlessly on behalf of victims, and we are confident that there will be accountability for this. And as Madam Prosecutor said, of course, everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Thank you much.
It seems to all of us who do this work on a daily basis that there's been just a large number of tragic cases that have happened to our children, worse than we have seen. So it's our hope that we don't continue to see these, but I know that's probably false hope that I'm having. Before we go any further, I want to introduce Tina Ripley, who has worked together on this case very hard. She will be trying this case. Louisa Papoulis is to her right and your left. She is the Deputy Chief of the Special Victims Unit. Kelly Gleason is to my immediate left, and she is the Chief of the Special Victims Unit. And again, if the Chief would introduce his people that are standing here, that would be helpful.
Okay, Sergeant, I'm sorry, Detective Lisa Johnson is right here. Also, officer in charge of the case, Isaac Yamas. Kelly Lucy, Detective. Ashley Peterson, Marcus Thurkill. Marcus is in the back there as well. And then Captain Rebecca McKay.
Okay. We'll take some short questions at this point, if you have any.
Not that you guys needed it to get a charging decision, but any indication as to a possible motive in this case?
You know, I don't talk about motive at the time. Any further evidence and charging decision will come out when we go to court. So, again, we can't comment on that at this time.
Has there been any communication with Samar's mother at all from you guys?
We did speak with his father yesterday, actually this morning, actually. So yes, we have had contact with the family, and the Detroit Police Department has had contact with the family as well.
So forgive me, I must be confused because I'm not listening close enough, so I apologize. But the relationship of the suspect to the child?
Mother.
Okay.
Yes. 41-year-old Brandy Pierce was his mother.
Okay. And did Samar's father live in Michigan?
He lives in this area, yes.
And was he aware of his child's death?
Again, we talked to him. I don't think he was aware until recently, but again, we did speak with him this morning.
Thank you.
And we'll be speaking with him, of course, further as time goes on.
And those are just, oh, go ahead.
No, please, you got it.
Those are her two kids, Samar and the 3-year-old?
Yes.
Okay.
Madam Prosecutor, where's the 3-year-old right now? And what's his status? What's his condition?
Again, he's with his mother in Georgia right now. And he was, and now he's in foster care here, I believe.
Can you
Foster care locally? Oh, okay.
Yep.
Are you able to provide any further information on the timeline of, you mentioned October, and then what?
That'll come out in court.
But in regard to how she ends up in Georgia with the other child, or
All I can tell you at this point in time is she left shortly after she buried the body in the backyard and went to the state of Georgia.
So the landlord call to DPD was on January 6th, correct?
The landlord call was on January 6th. The police were notified. They immediately went out to the house on Whittingham. They were shown that grave by the owner of that particular property. They saw the foot sticking out of the ground, and it went from there. The chief notified me immediately upon that discovery.
She had rented that home?
I assume she rented it. I don't know.
Madam Prosecutor, just got this from a coworker, some indication that
Who's talking? I can't see you.
Randy.
Oh, okay. All right.
Can you speak to this? I'll just read this verbatim. A source indicated yesterday that the mother claims they were horsing around and playing some sort of choking game.
I'm not going to comment on the evidence in the case.
Also, was this case file sent over to you guys more than once at all? And if so, what elements were needed to get to a charging decision?
Oh, we're not going to talk about that. Yeah. The police contact us when they have information. We talk often back and forth. And then once we get a completed investigation, we make a charging decision. Anybody else?
Do you know how long the mom has been living at that rental house?
For a short period of time. It's a very short period of time. Thank you, everybody. Oh, do you have something else?
Well, I think I know the answer to your question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. My question is, potentially this was accidental, somebody panics and then leaves the state, intentional? Are you able to offer anything in regard to intent or non-intent?
I am not going to do that. Yep. You'll find out in court.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, everybody. I'm sorry. Okay, that's it.
All right, now that y'all seen that, I want to know your thoughts and opinions. I do feel like that she's out of line for doing all of this. I feel like that she needs to be charged and held to the maximum extent of a charge that they can give her. You know, I feel like that when you do things like this, they should have somebody on hand, on demand, that can go in there and do exactly what you did to the victim. That's just how I feel about it. They got people who can take you out, you know what I'm saying, and get away with it all the time. That's in higher places or authority figures. So why not just go ahead and have somebody on hand and do the eye for an eye? That's what I feel like, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure that if people had to deal with that, they'll slow down on a lot of crimes, you feel me? But he didn't deserve that. You know, it's just sad and unfortunate that he had to go through that, and to witness the person who gave you birth, the person that's been in your life since you were here, take your life, because you know you're looking straight at them if you're being choked out, you know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure all type of thoughts was running through his mind before he, you know, passed away. But ultimately, she's caught. I'm glad she's caught, and I have no sympathy for her. I don't give a damn what she was going through. I'm not empathetic to none of that, because you knew what you was doing when you had this damn child, and you know there's other resources that you can take if you're having a hard time raising these children. You never take your anger out on people who you birth. You feel me? But hey, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this whole situation. If you made it to the end of this video, I definitely do appreciate y'all, and I will holler at y'all a little bit later on today with another video. All right.